I'll just share my screen if we're talking about NIO. NIO has been exploding out of its pants. But when we talked about NIO, we talked about if we just to go back, is it better to invest right now this second in NIO or Tesla? And I was like, look, NIO's probably going to double or triple. I even said that, right?
Tesla had a big run up.
It did, but it did not triple from that time period.
No,
And
what I'm saying
NIO,
is prior to that, Tesla had already had a big run up. It was starting to get frothy.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you have some new money, where do you want to put it? And maybe we should go back to that. That was the $100 portfolio challenge. And even in that, I said, yeah.
Well, FUV is what I picked, and you picked XRP, which also did amazing, gangbusters.
No, if you would have put $100 in either, we should go back and do an update to that, right? And then like calculate what that would be worth. That's a nice looking chart.
It's not even that difficult. Like, you know, all these people charting these amazing charters. Like, honestly, you draw two parallel lines, you see where it's going.
You see where they converge, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically touching a couple of points, and usually 3 points is what people who are charting look for, that a trend is confirmed. So here's 1 point, here's 2 points, and here's 3 points. And the third one is when I think the people who are just following charts said, you know what, this third point is confirmation, it's going up. This is where I was buying, okay? We were talking about it roughly over here, I think at around $17 or so. And I thought it was a risk because I'll show you the previous chart. If I go back in time, look where NIO was. It's kind of crazy. It was hanging around the $3 range for a long time. It even dipped down to as low as $2. Yeah, it was around $2. I think even somewhere I saw one. Either case, someone was in it at around $3. Holy, 2,000% return. It's absolutely.
That's a big return.
It's gangbusters. Oh my God. I don't know who's stuck around. The CEO obviously sticking around. So he's now a billionaire.
Yeah. Well, if you'd have put 10 grand in there.
At $3.
When was that?
Oh my God.
When was that? Like what time of the year?
At the beginning of the year. So if you had it March, roughly April.
Okay, like right around the time that the pandemic.
Yeah, if you had it around there, $3. Now it's at almost $60. 50, what is that? 30x? I mean,
it's a ridiculous amount of money.
30x. Even for me, I'm at I think a 4.5x. I calculated its market cap right now. So $73 billion. This is a little bit wacky. It's $54. It's at $73 billion. It's remember, they make no money. Okay, so
this is yeah, that's a pull up
earnings per share is negative $44.
What's Nikola's market cap right now?
Well, you know, Nikola, we keep talking about them, but they literally make nothing. NIO does make vehicles. They sell them, they make, and they're just not making.
No, they are. They sell
right
vehicles, but no, it's just interesting that they're 73 billion.
Yeah,
Nikola's 10 billion.
And the reason I have a problem with this, by the way, they are growing fast. They're on order of, right now they sold, I think, around 13,000 vehicles this past quarter. So let's say in the whole year they'll hit, let me see, 12 times.
Wait, what did they sell?
70,000 a year. Right now it's like 70.
What did they sell last quarter?
It's like 13,000 vehicles.
But that was quarter 3, right? That's what they sold.
That was the last quarter, right? So let's say they do again another 15,000. So let's say they hit around 70, 80,000 vehicles max in the whole year. They are projected, by the way, next year to sell up to 150,000 vehicles. They'll have that capacity. So you're talking about 100% gain on in terms of them doubling their production output, which is amazing. Okay. Companies that double are very few and far between. That doesn't happen often. So that is an amazing stat for NIO.
I was just looking up what Tesla sold in China.
No, the Tesla's selling more vehicles. You can't right now. No, you can't.
It's to compare, because the Tesla would obviously be number one. It's to see how far away they are from that number. I mean, it looks like this was in May. Tesla sold 11,000 Shanghai-made Model 3 vehicles in China in May. So what did they sell? They sold 16,000 vehicles. That's on par.
Well, yeah, Tesla's killing it. Tesla's the number one player even in China in terms of selling cars. I forgot what it was last quarter, but it was 20, 30,000. It wasn't.
But it's different. This is different because it says that they're made in China models. Doesn't necessarily mean that they were sold in China.
Right.
They say made in China. Tesla Q3 vehicle deliveries. It's just to get an idea of what NIO's chasing, because NIO does have an advantage where they can focus their vehicles on just the Chinese market. So for example, there are like the Cybertruck can't be sold in certain parts of Europe unless they change the size because it's too big for the roads. This is not something that that NIO has to worry about. They can sort of just focus on one market, which really is the largest global. It's the largest global market, even if it's not the one that we care about the most.
I want to talk quickly about what it has going for them. One thing that you're saying is very true. Even right now, NIO's selling in China. Most people, it's a 5% market penetration right now, or 10% in China. So somewhere in the low single digits, somewhere around there, right? Basically, ICE is being screwed. Everyone thinks that they're competing strictly against Tesla. Yes, you do have a choice which vehicle you buy, but where's the market share really coming from? They're stealing from ICE vehicles.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, this idea that like EVs are only competing with EVs.
It's ridiculous.
People have stopped to care about what's powering the vehicles. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's
I have 2 ICE vehicles in my garage, and one of them is going away in February. Let's put it this way. I am not looking at any more ICE
think
vehicles.
About that. Yeah, just on this on this conversation of the two of us, 100% of us have gotten rid of 50% of our ICE vehicles.
Right. And then in another year or two, when my other car is a little bit older and the Cybertruck is out, then all of a sudden I'll just completely be done with ICE.
Well, if the Cybertruck came out this year, you'd have the Cybertruck this year.
Yeah, I would.
So
yes, I would.
It's a matter of that's just waiting on Tesla to produce.
So my point is, look, NIO is a legit company that's growing really fast. Here and they're gonna grow into this valuation. So I don't doubt they're gonna grow into 70 billion. I just keep looking at it like, have they gone way too far too fast for a company that only produces 12,000 vehicles a quarter, makes no money at all yet, and they're being valued like they're going to be Tesla. So
the thing is, Tesla trading at so high above its earnings, with complete stability and safety, is affecting.
It's pumping all the other EV stocks.
It is showing that these companies can trade at multiples way higher than what they're actually earning. And if a company like NIO is in the negative right now, it's only because of penetration. As long as they are still growing, the investors will see that there will be a tipping point where they just have to become profitable, right? The other thing to think about too is China's pollution problem is way worse than what we have here. Part of the reason that they're one of the biggest markets for cars, they're also one of the biggest polluters. And so I do think that there is a political motivation by the government to make sure that one of these companies succeeds, so that they do switch over to renewable energy. You know, and thinking about our last video, we talked about the battery as a service thing.
Yep.
I do think that part of the battery as a service thing is to feed an eventual power grid. If you think about it, having those batteries being able to be disconnected from the car. I don't know. I just started thinking about that the other day. What did you do with those?
They didn't say that, but why can't it be that?
If you took a battery that had 80%, because what was I researching the other day? I was reading up on, if you look on Tesla, now they have a complete battery microsite. I sent it to you, where you can just look at all the battery and the plans for how they can use batteries for storage and whatnot. And I was thinking, all you really need is just a lot of batteries in basically a grid. And so if you have all these batteries that are the same, say coming out of these cars, NIO at some point this could be part of their plan, to take a lot of these refurbished batteries after say 5 or 10 years of building them up, and you can start to use these as a power grid where you can start to offer just different things when you have that many terawatts available to
what you're saying, I didn't even think about, by the way, so this is a really good point. You know, they have whole battery as a service stations where they change your battery.
Yeah.
Why can't that be connected to the grid while it's not being used?
This is what I'm saying. I was saying, like,
so it sits there. This is genius. It sits there.
Because what you're doing is, this is what I was
paying NIO money every single minute.
You are charging your customers for you to build an asset that will be valuable in the future. The dead batteries.
Oh, fuck. I got to buy more NIO. Damn you.
No, these are just things that when that battery microsite came out, I started thinking about, look, if energy is the real big play of these companies, right? What is something that these electric car companies are going to start to create in abundance?
Right.
A massive storage of energy.
Yeah.
I think any of these companies that make it big, even a company like GM, right, that's trying to get into the vehicle space, even a company like that now has to start thinking about energy production and storage as part of their business because
But they're not. Let's face it, though they're not yet, or they haven't made it known at
maybe
all to
not
us.
publicly, but because when a car engine goes bad, what do? You throw it away and it just goes parts. But when an electric vehicle goes bad, you're left with this 400
Correct.
pound battery that might have 40% capacity. It still has capacity.
Or 50% or 60%, right? Or
It's
but
good for
even
something.
see, besides throwing it out, there is the whole vehicle to grid where you just plug in your EV at night, and if you don't use all the energy, you can say I'm willing to give 20% of that car's energy to the grid, or whatever you can say.
There
That
was
might be a
even,
real thing. I think 7 years from now, batteries are going to be way better. Do we both agree on that?
I mean, the density's, yeah, the density's going to get higher. The
Right.
output's
So
going to
you
get
don't even want to,
higher.
you would probably try to upgrade anyway, because instead of your 300 miles, you'd want 600 miles on your battery or whatever. And they're doing a smart thing where they're basically keeping you in that loop of like always upgrading every 7 years. And so, but the payoff is over 6 or 7 years for that battery as a service. So it's not like NIO saying, I think you're going to keep this car at least 6 years. That's a good proposition for the consumer.
That's the part of NIO's business model that I don't like. The whole battery as a service is where I have a problem for them. It's not because in principle it doesn't work. It's kind of like a pyramid scheme. It sounds great when you look at it on paper. It all works
Right.
out and it's great. But there's something about the execution of that. At least right now, there's a huge upfront cost. The battery as a service, the robots that build the
Well, no,
robots
it's not a
that build
big
the robots.
upfront cost. Well, for them, you're saying, but
For
for the
them, I'm saying, yeah.
consumer,
For them, I'm saying, but I'm not talking about
but no,
consumer.
but let's talk. The consumer is important here. You can't just skip the consumer.
But I'm not talking about them now. In this moment, I'm
Right.
talking about the company. I think that's a huge infrastructure that they have to build out. At the same time, it's a lot of moving parts, and for you to have these sorts of integral connections to have to be flexible and swapped out, I just think that there's a lot of places for mechanical failure there.
Uh,
And even if you take right now, it's just in China. If you try to scale that up and you go to completely different climates around the world, any connection point is subject to humidity and rust. And I just can see that becoming a problem in the future. Although maybe part of the bigger play is what we're talking about. Maybe they are trying to move to an energy provider. Maybe they're trying to get their customers to
I think you're
swap
right
these
about this
batteries out
energy.
to grab these batteries and not have these cars dying with these batteries in it. Maybe that's part of it. If so, they should announce that, because I feel like, especially with the EV companies, part of the
Uh,
reason why Tesla is at the valuation it is and trading like
yeah.
that is because he's drilling in your head. It's bigger than cars. We're trying to change the move or accelerate the move to sustainable energy. So people are like, you're investing in an ETF of energy companies, right? And he's drilling that home. If NIO pivots and says that as well, then I think, yeah, it would justify
Well,
higher
I think
prices.
the reason they're not saying it because it seems obvious now that you've even mentioned it. That wasn't even something I was considering, but it's obvious because one, China is supporting the EV sector. China is supporting NIO directly. They want to have 25, 30% vehicles, all electric vehicles by 2025. That's less than 5 years away, or is less than 5 years, right? They want 25% penetration minimum. That's crazy. That means for NIO, it's probably a 5 to 10x right now, guaranteed.
Yeah, if they're the biggest player outside
Guaranteed.
Tesla.
Well, no, all of them. I'm talking about XPeng, Li Auto, BYD, Tesla. All of them are 5, 10xing in China in the next 5 years. Literally, China has said this. This is not me making stuff up. This is not me assuming it. China wants everyone to 5,
No,
10x
it's like a
in the next
mandate. I read
5 years.
something similar about that in California. They said something about,
2030 is
I think
when
by
gas.
2030, they're like,
Yeah, that's 10 years though. But imagine you can 5x, 10x your money basically because all these stocks are going to be flying off the shelf because by 2025,
people have to
this
buy
is the
these
government
cars.
mandate. Yes, you have all these incentives to buy EVs and you have no incentives to buy an ICE vehicle. You might be penalized
Okay, but
for it.
you just have to be on the lookout for that Toyota company, that car company that
Oh
comes
God, are you
out
one
with
of
the,
those old stodgy guys that
no, no,
GM is
no.
coming from the back?
No, I'm not saying, no, I'm saying a Toyota-like company that comes out with like the
Right,
car that becomes the Camry, that when
right,
that car came out, it was just competing and something made that car, the Corolla and the Camry. I mean, everyone drives these freaking cars
right.
and they're just so cheap. The parts stayed the same for so many years. They were easy to replace. You have to watch out for that company. Whoever that company is, could be a startup or it could be one of these other companies comes out with that car that becomes the Camry, and then everyone just buys that one. You know, we hoping that it is one of these two, that it's a Tesla,
Right.
or that it's a NIO, because then at that point, people don't change, right? They're so slow to adopt that once they do, they're just going to buy that car forever.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you're hoping one of these
There
two
is going to
companies is.
be, if you're saying there's going to be a third, a fourth, fifth, sixth position, absolutely. Right now, Tesla and NIO are not the cheap guys on the block anyway. They are the premium brand. So the other companies, BYD and XPeng, I think XPeng's a little bit higher end too, but really NIO is considered a high end brand in China. And it's like our Tesla here that everyone talks about.
Or like an
Tesla.
Audi. It's considered like an Audi, I guess.
Yeah, a good brand that everyone wants to be a part of, wants to be seen in, that kind of thing. So where is NIO going? That it's at $54 right now. So I think you can see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This seems inevitable that it's heading to around $60 to $65. It seems like I plotted this line today, like, oh, it's obviously touched 3 points again, 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 even, right?
I don't doubt that there's money to be made. I mean, even I think in our $100 video, it was like $100 stock portfolio video. It was like, yes, for 3 to 6 months, it's going to be a killing. And I think what we're seeing now that Tesla's pushing the market up. I really think that especially now with Elon Musk becoming the second richest man in the world, like that's where he's at now, right? There's a certain amount of credibility that he has now. I really think that he's positioned himself to be like the Apple of this space. I mean, he's like the Steve Jobs of that space. And so as long as Tesla stays where it's at, S&P 500, they're just validation as a company. I really think that we're getting into that era where this idea of like Tesla as a cute little startup is over. This is a dominant corporation.
That's over. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a certain like coming of age of the company where I feel like they're like the Apple of that space. They're just this giant, you know, and we'll see if they, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I still talk to a lot of different people about investing in Tesla. Even now, I'm like, listen, I say this is let's say minimum $2 trillion minimum. So you have like a 4x approximately.
From here, yeah.
Where else can you basically guarantee a 4x? Forget about Bitcoin for a second. Fine, maybe Bitcoin 4, 5x, 10x. In a solid company that's joining the S&P, name a company that you can guarantee basically 4x.
I mean, on that level, no, because that 4x,
I don't know
that
any.
4x could be conservative.
That's right. It could be absolutely an 8 or 10x.
It could be 8 or 10x. And I mean, this is without seeing the actual impact of the sales of the Cybertruck and the Cybertruck 2.0.
We didn't see the Semi, the Cybertruck, the Roadster.
We haven't seen the Semi. We haven't seen, you know, they'll have a bike, they'll have a motorcycle. They're going to have a two-seater.
What about the energy division? How if it grows exponentially?
I mean, these are things that within the next 5 years, we're going to have some serious answers to. And that's, as much as you think it's priced in, it's not priced in yet.
Yeah.
So this idea of a 4 or 5x, especially this wealth gap that we're seeing now, where poor are getting poorer and rich are getting richer, they just have more money to invest. I mean, they just have even more money to invest. I don't know. I just think that we are really underestimating how far a lot of these bull runs are going to go, the power of the markets, not even the economy.
I agree with you.
The power of the markets. I really think we're in for a real shock, man.
I agree with you. I'm trying to keep it like reasonable. So when I talk to people, I'm trying to say, look, hold on, let me stop the screen share for a second. I'm trying to say, look, this is a 4x at the minimum. If we are like, let's go ballistic, you're talking about, this is over $4 trillion. That's an 8x. If he's actually taking over the world,
he's the second richest
in a year. In a year.
I mean, how we got to look back and see what the CEO metrics were for him to get paid, the compensation package, because
when he hit the market caps of certain price targets,
650 billion is what
that's the last one.
That's the next last one. What I'm saying is they're already at 460 billion,
550. He's 100 billion away.
This was a plan for 4 years from. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, so that, you know, they could hit. I mean, could be a $4
trillion, dude. The trillion after the Cybertruck is absolutely possible.
I think it's probable. I think it's almost guaranteed when that thing
Imagine he comes out,
launches, man.
right? He says, imagine I have a million pre-orders, not a million, a million pre-orders for the Cybertruck, probably around there right now.
They will be
So,
cranking these Cybertrucks out at maximum capacity at the
oh yeah,
factory
oh yeah,
and getting them out
Elon's waiting for
however
this. Yeah,
many they can get out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, they're going to be
absolutely.
stamping these things out of one piece of metal, getting a Cybertruck out every 10 minutes
Right.
for a month, and all of them are already sold.
Well, I think all of them are sold for like a year or two. He
He
said
said
this. He
3
said as
years.
much. Yeah, he said we can't produce enough.
We
He
can't
already said
produce
this.
enough. I mean, so when yeah, you're talking about this could be at 4 That's what I'm
Right.
saying. I think
So
we're underestimating, and then
we're
the
underestimating
valuation,
the 10 year of Tesla. Yes.
the acceleration or the curve. I think, and then you add the stimulus, and then you
Yeah.
add vaccine to all of that. That curve just starts to go.
Right. Well, I don't think it's going to 2 trillion. I don't want to be crazy, but next year I can see $1 trillion happening because that's only a double. That's less than a double away. And as soon as he gets a bit of good news, like, oh, we just sold 300,000 Cybertrucks today, blah, blah, blah. That, I mean, like, who's not buying this stock? I don't understand.
He could have.
I don't get it.
They could have an announcement. They could start rolling out the first semis.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, they could start rolling out the first. And
Next year it's going to be bonkers, right? Every 2 months there's going to be some big announcement.
Something big announced. The other thing too, we spoke about this a little bit on the FUV video. There's a lot of money sitting in Nikola. There's 73. What is it? Oh no,
Yeah.
23.
10 billion.
73. Okay,
Yeah.
there's 10. Okay, well, it's not that much, but there's $10 billion sitting in Nikola right now. When that company tanks, because it's going to happen, it needs to go somewhere. That money needs to go somewhere. Not to say all of it's going to go back in the EV space, but a good.
Well, yeah, I like what you're saying there. I don't know if it's only Nikola. There's a lot of froth in the whole market, right? So let's say next year, these companies are not performing as well as we've evaluated them, right? Like we valued them.
You're going to get bored. If
well,
Nikola,
what's going to, right?
If NIO goes up to 100, right? What's going to keep the hype train going after that point?
Right.
It's like, then
well,
you start to,
even if NIO can do that and Tesla can do that, let's just give them the props. But there's another 50 companies, Workhorse, there's Canoe, there's like so many of these SPACs and so many of these EVs. What happens when these companies are not selling like Tesla's selling? It's not selling like NIO's selling. All that money is going to clear out from all those other companies. And where's it going? I think it's actually going to Tesla and NIO and maybe a couple of other small players.
I don't know about you, but like,
or big players.
I know several people where Tesla is their predominant position, and it didn't start that way.
I'm that person.
I'm that guy too. When I look at my portfolio, it is overwhelmingly Tesla, just because whenever you're looking at comparing it to any other play, you're just like, it's a no-brainer to buy this.
No brainer. Any price up until I'd say $1 trillion,
which would be $1,000 for $1,000 for a share right now. Right now at $5,000 at $5,000 a share pre-split.
And we are still buying it. This is the thing. So everybody listening, we are still buying.
Buying this stock.
I hate when it runs up so fast because me and you were talking about at the 400 level, we were buying a lot of shares.
Yeah.
And remember, me and Carlos, anyone who's watched us, we've been buying them back at $250 pre-split.
Pre-split.
That's $50 post-split.
Right.
And why am I still buying a company for $450? And there's a reason, because they have won. If you do not recognize the winner, I don't know what's wrong with you.
It
honestly.
Really is like
you need to self-examine yourself.
Or buying Google or buying Apple at 2 or 3 years after they got in the. It's just
right.
While they were trading sideways for all those years, it would be the same as just accumulating tons of shares and then sitting back and watching your retirement.
Well, the Model 3 is the iPhone, right? So imagine. You're like, oh, I've missed this whole run up. Everyone could be like, oh, I've missed this iPhone moment. And when the Model 3 came out,
iPad,
Apple is still capitalizing on the iPhone moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
they are 10x
into other products. I mean, when you thought the iPhone was the end of their innovation, they hit you with the watch. They have the iMacs, the whole
the services.
Line, the services, everything, iPads. It's
right.
It's insane.
And this is one thing for NIO and for Tesla we're underestimating. Their services are going to be enormous. Okay? Right now, Tesla, I know they charge you $10 a month if you want to be part of their data for the car.
Yeah.
Who is buying a Tesla and not getting the data package? Okay? And right now, only half the people are buying the full self-driving. They're coming out with full self-driving as a service. Instead of paying for that.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is like they're going to be a services company too. So what is their valuation? It should be more like a real tech company, and it's still not. They're still talking about it like, oh, this is 5 times sales and 10 times. Believe me, as soon as all this money starts flowing in from these services in the next, like, let's say 2025 or whatever, by then.
Well, it's funny because the main bear case for against Tesla is what are they going to do after all the EV credits go away? Oh, I don't know. Just charge people for software and continue
Right.
to increase. It's never going to go down. Once you get locked into paying for service, like once you paid for your email the first time, you know, you pay for
Right.
then you pay for iCloud storage, then you pay for Netflix, and you pay
Right.
for Spotify. You're back in.
Well,
Once you
we're
start
okay
getting
now
this
with
stuff for your,
services.
yeah, once you
Everyone,
get
yeah.
this for your car, once your car can have 5G and pump it out to your, you know, it's insane what you're going to pay
Right. So
for
me and you even are
services.
underestimating. I don't know what that business is like, but that's going to be a massive cash flowing business for them where all the cars driving will be paying monthly to have full self driving and to have, in fact, I think the full self driving thing in, I don't know how many years it's going to take. It's going away in terms of a buy option. He's only going to charge you for it. It's a monthly option.
Right. Yeah.
That totally makes sense for him. You know what I'm saying?
As a subscription. Yeah.
That makes more sense for him than just selling it to you outright, honestly.
Yeah.
He'll make way more money off of it.
Yeah.
And
Just cash flow every month. That cash flow is coming in.
wait till the Tesla App Store comes out, dude. Just like Apple. How much money do they make on the App Store? There's going to be a Tesla App Store.
It was genius. Yeah, and that's the thing. They'll have their screens, they'll have their dimensions, and it will be like a little gaming console. It will be a new hub, a console. I mean, there's a lot that I could see. I mean, even to the point where I literally, you know, just really thinking crazy. Imagine if you could just detach the screen from the Tesla and you walk in your house and connect it to the wall, and it now controls your house, right? In the same way they could make that where it's just like one screen that you carry, you just detach it. Like there's ways that they could integrate your car with your house.
Or just connects, or just as soon as you plug it in, it just connects to your whatever.
Just connects it, you plug it in, now it's just controlling it. It's like this entire, there's things that we can't even imagine on top of financial effects like stimulus and vaccine that we can't even imagine or factor in, which is why I say the biggest mistake is to underestimate these plays, to think that you have enough shares.
I'm on the Kathy Wood train where she's like, remember when I don't know if you recall, but over a year ago, year and a half, even 2 years ago now, she was saying Tesla's going to $3,000, $4,000, right? And everyone thought she was a lunatic. We are at
now. I mean, yeah,
we're at $3,000 basically.
And at some point, she was saying 15,000. She walked that one back a little bit because she felt like maybe you got
so 7,500, whatever. But she is basically not selling her Tesla position. Obviously, she trades the stock, but her biggest positions in her funds, if you look at them, is Tesla. Mm-hmm. If Kathy Wood is still holding Tesla, that means you better be buying Tesla. That's what that means.
Yeah, because you don't have enough. She can only have 10% of her. You know, she has to get rid of some. Yeah. I mean, listen, I agree with you. And in terms of these smaller plays, like as we started talking about NIO, you know, there's
you say small. You say small, but NIO's on a similar trajectory. And I do want to remember we talked about. I do want to show this one last thing, and then we can call it a day for NIO. But we discussed how do you buy a NIO, and we went looking on the website, blah blah blah. Well, guess what I did? I bought a NIO. Not really, but check this out. So here I am. I'm going to search for NIO, which I already have in front. I downloaded this app. And earlier, me and Carlos talked about how do we buy a NIO vehicle. Well, you download the app and you purchase a NIO vehicle. It is all in Chinese, so I'm not going to claim that I can read all this.
Step one, learn Chinese.
It's pretty evident what you have to do. Here, I'm going to go back to the other screen. This is the home page. And there's lots of things that NIO does, but I'm going to click what's obvious, is click on the car. Let's configure the car so you can take a look and read about it. You can watch a video, obviously, with the play button. I'm going to click this little greenish button on the bottom right. I assume that's configuration. Brings me to this page where it shows how much each NIO costs. And obviously, there's different features and stuff. And we know NIO is doing battery as a service as well. So maybe the 368,000 one is the cheaper one. Or the dual motor. I could see the motors are in blue. Either way, let's pick the expensive one, 468,000 RMB. Now this is where we can pick our batteries as well. So we can say 100 kilowatt. I'm not sure what this says. I'm sure there's somewhere where it reads battery as a service, but I'm not risking to buy this vehicle and have it shipped here for 50 grand or so.
But it looks like this is how you do it. You just purchase a NIO, just like Tesla's doing all digital stuff, and through the app you can buy these advanced features.
I'll just
Well,
finish.
here you go. You can buy a 100 kilowatt battery, upgrade your NIO, do battery as a service. It's as easy as that to spend 50, 60 grand.
All right, so let me just screen share. So I thought that was interesting that I could just download it, just like Tesla's doing all this buy in app stuff. Not a lot of GM, Ford, once again, where the fuck are they?
Well, if you
Why are they
think about it,
asleep
right,
on the job?
the company that disrupted the typical model for that was Apple when they came out with the App Store. They were like, let's just have a store where everyone gets it. They did this with music, but nobody thought anyone would pay for music. And Apple was like, yes, if you just give them a place,
Right.
they'll pay for it.
An easy place to do
A
it.
real easy place to pay 99 cents. Boom. They did that. They did it with the App Store. Tesla said the same thing. Why do you need a dealership? Why do you need to build the car and have these models sitting there that you're then trying to sell to people with all these features? Just have it be online and build a car custom, right? Now, NIO, I mean, say goodbye to car dealerships, say goodbye to car rental, say goodbye to Avis and Hertz, and say goodbye
Amen,
to
brother.
those places. They're gone. They're gone. There's no need to, you're creating physical inventory before a customer says they want it. It's goodbye.
See, well, what you said is actually extremely important, and I don't want to gloss over it, because why will GM fail and Ford fail? They have a whole dealership network. A lot of their money is blown and wasted on these other third parties. They can't even go to the consumer the same way that Tesla and NIO and all these upstarts can. So they are like crushed by legacy. Let me put it this way. That's why either they're going to fail completely or merge into one massive, like, behemoth that'll try to survive, basically, because I don't think they can compete with these upstarts. They can't. You go to even Rivian's website. I don't know if you saw their configurator.
No, what do they got?
I don't know if we can do it, but you can go configure your Rivian, like the truck right now. Pick your color, pick your interior,
you
pick
can
this
with
and
the
that.
Hummer. You can go with the Hummer and you can pre-order it.
Yeah, but it's different. This is a direct to them. Like, for example, I actually went. I don't want to go through this process, but when I was looking for not to buy a Tesla, I was trying to save some money. I looked at the Kona Electric.
Oh yeah, the Kona EV.
So I went to try to configure it and I almost purchased it. So at the end of it, it tells you, oh, you have to go to the dealership.
Yeah.
No, you're missing the point. I don't want to go talk to that guy. That guy's always trying to rob me. When I go to Amazon, I'm not negotiating the paper towels $1 less. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Okay, if I'm willing to buy a Tesla, I get it. The price is this price, and I have to pay that price. That's it.
Well, keep in mind too that the dealerships are making most of their money servicing these vehicles, and that's how they're keeping the doors open. In addition to their little 3%, these electric vehicles have almost no maintenance. Almost no maintenance. I mean, even on the Leaf now, we've had it over a year and we've driven it a good amount. The only thing we need to do is change the brake pads now because we just got the car with some
or tires or something similar.
There's literally
simple
nothing.
Like that, right.
We've done nothing. Maybe you changed the cabin air filter and you put some washer fluid in it.
Right. Well, when was your last oil change for that car?
Zero. We only go to the gas station and put air in the tire, until I get the air pump. It's like,
you should just buy the little pump for $20.
That's what I'm saying. Buy the pump. And so there's no maintenance on this thing, man.
So I'm giving you props for recognizing that GM will never be able to do this. They have to change their model. They're going to have, but they can't at this point. They have all these contracts with these dealers. You can't just kill the contracts right away. They just can't do that. It would be illegal. It's actually against state laws in certain states because they have this old dealership network.
No, I know. And that was a big thing Tesla tried to push initially when they tried to sell their cars. They were like, no, you have to have dealerships, and they wanted to go direct to consumer.
Right.
I mean, that's a company, they're doing that because they recognize that by putting anyone in between them and the customer is going to be a markup. They're really putting their money where their mouth is, and being able to order the vehicle online. Yes, we're used to that, especially now in a contactless necessary environment. Yeah. Who wants to go to a dealership and touch a car and sit in a car that a million other people have been sitting in? I don't.
Right. And Tesla will bring it to your freaking front door.
Contactless,
they will drive it. Well, you don't even have to pick it up. They will drive it to you, and that's it. And you got your car. Just to relate it back to this video, NIO's on the same trajectory that Tesla is. They're doing the right things. They have the energy business. They're doing the contactless thing. They're doing the all digital buying thing, upgrading your car right in the app, spending 10,000 more here and there, doing the battery as a service. China's supporting them. 2025 going to be huge for EVs in China.